My favorite song to play right now is probably just strumming on the guitar to my daughter. I wanted to become a musician very early on. I think it was just really in my blood because I had a family of musicians that I grew up in. And by the age of 4, I was living in a band house that housed the Vaughan family, with Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimmy Vaughan, and all of the Bramhalls. And they were in bands together until I was about 7 or 8 years old. I just sort of got lessons every night from some of the greatest guitar players in my mind. I mean, Stevie Ray Vaughan is recognized as being one of the great guitar players, and I got to see him on a nightly basis, playing with Freddie King, Lightnin' Hopkins, Albert Collins, all the great blues guitarists. And I think the Texas musicians, which were sort of the second generation of blues guys, you know, like Johnny Guitar Watson, a lot of the Louisiana acts like Lightnin' Slim. I didn't know that I wanted to be a musician until I was probably 11, but it was always in my blood. And I think I knew from an early age, like, you know, 2, that I really wanted to be doing it. I started on drums when I was 6, and I switched to bass when I was 11, and then because there was a shortage of guitar players in our area, I became, by default, the guitar player, and that's how I got into it. But my first real gig, I think I was 14, and we won the talent show at a middle school in Fort Worth, Texas, playing, I think, surf music. I was into surf music for a minute. I made the crossover into professional music when I turned 14. I played 3 nights every weekend and then went to school during the week. And I did that for a long time until I started making really good money and started to sort of drop in my grades in school. And my motivation, which I wouldn't say for anybody else to do out there, for quitting school was because I was making about $500 a weekend playing music, and I was failing algebra every year. So I just said, you know what, this is what I want to do. This is really all I know how to do. And school's getting in my way of being a rock star. I thought that I had to choose one or the other at that point, and I chose music, even though now it's, you know, I wish that I would have stayed in school and learned a lot more things than I did. The first touring act that I went out with was a band called the Fabulous Thunderbirds, and that was when I was 17 years old. I got a call from Jimmy Vaughan, who said that he liked the way that I dressed and that I looked cool so I could be in the band. And they needed a second guitar player because it was their first album that they had done a lot of overdubs, so they had 2 and 3 guitar parts on one song. And Jimmy felt like he wanted another guitar player there. And he actually called Stevie to ask him who he thought he should get in the band, and Stevie said, "You gotta get Doyle. He's an amazing guitar player." That was my initiation into touring, and basically went out for 2.5 years in 1988 and just played, you know, 300 and some odd dates a year for the 2.5 years. Very self-taught. I tried to take a lesson when I was 14 years old, and the guy that was teaching me said, I can't teach you unless you change the strings around or play right-handed. But by the time I had taken that lesson, I had already learned about 200 songs, and I felt comfortable with what I knew, and I wasn't about to start over because I sort of liked the way it sounded. It sounded different to me. And I felt like I was good enough to just keep going with the way that I had learned. When somebody told me you play left-handed upside down, it didn't mean anything to me. I was like, whatever. It doesn't mean anything to me because I'm just playing guitar.
I don't really think about notes too much because I don't know scales. I know nothing. All I know is somebody told me that I played pentatonic scales.
Okay. That's what I was gonna, okay, so say you're saying, okay.
Right. But for me, it's like I get out of that when I'm playing live. And just going for it. I don't care where I'm at. If I hear a note, I'll just follow it.